We go again, folks. This is probably the most important aspect of this whole class. By now, you should be deeply involved in your behavior changes and probably have rewritten your template 3 or 4 or 5 times. And here we go again. You may say, why didn't you give us all this in the beginning? Well, various reasons. Probably the most important reason is it's better to start out crawling before you walk. So as you go through and make revisions into this plan that hopefully you've devised and are very well engaged in, going back and fixing things is going to teach you. So the next time you do this in, quote, real life, not that this isn't, but something that's not related to a course, that you decide, hey, you know what, I got this deal going on and I'm going to fix it. Now you're going to have the background and the expertise needed to make it work. Are you going to be successful every time? No. That's unrealistic. But hey, you got a better shot at it having gone through this process like I'm dragging you through it. So let's go for it. This is going to be kind of a long video, so hang in there with me. It's got a lot of good information. And let's begin with the beginning. How's that sound? The beginning, self-management. All right? That's the whole point of this whole thing. Now, you're probably sitting there going, wait a minute. Hey, dummy, we've already done this. Well, yeah, I know you have. But like I said, I'm giving you more and more and more information as we go by. When I'm taking flight lessons, they don't take me up in an airplane or let me go up in an airplane and expect me to do things immediately correctly. They walk you slowly through it. That's what I'm doing with you. So when I complete the lesson, then the next time I want to go fly, then I know how to do that, and I know how to do it okay, safely. That's the key. So enough about my flying and me, although I could talk to you about flying all day long. It wouldn't bore me at all, but it'd put you to sleep. Self-regulation. What is self-regulation? Something that Dr. Dasher doesn't have when it comes to aviation. Self-regulation, the ability to monitor and manage your energy states, emotions, thoughts, and behaviors in ways that are acceptable and produce positive results, like well-being, loving relationships, and learning. Let's briefly explore learning. Study. Some of you may have decided you wanted to change your study habits. Self-regulation is the key. That's the whole thing we've been talking about this whole 6 weeks. It is regulating what you do to your own benefit. So the ability to monitor and manage your energy states, getting good rest, emotions, emotional maturity, emotional management, emotional intelligence, thoughts, fix them. That's what you're trying to do here. And behaviors in ways that are acceptable. I was reading a new research article this morning, and it talks about habits and how they form. And it's pretty straightforward. I don't know why they had to do this really in-depth research project unless they're just trying to validate more so than what the information was validated as before. But it basically says the bottom line, behaviors are habits, and we learn those, and we get a reinforcement out of that. And you've heard this stuff already in different words. I do something, it reinforces me. It's positive in the sense that it gets reinforced. The behavior itself may be something I don't want to be doing, right? Skipping study to go watch old reruns of a Western that I used to watch in my youth, that kind of thing. So you got to change those habits, and habits form by repetition, right? So you got to break the repetition. Key to some of this. All right, so what are some of the skills? Mindfulness. Mindfulness is the awareness that arises from paying attention on purpose in the present moment, and here's a biggie, non-judgmentally. What does that smack of? I don't know, critical thinking, removing biases, listening to the information with an open mind. But beyond that, I can be open-minded to the point where I listen to what you have to say, but I can still be a non-critical thinker because I maintain my biases. Okay, I want to hear what you got to say, but I already don't agree with you, even before I've even heard it. So mindfulness, awareness that arises from paying attention on purpose. Big deal. I'm concentrating. Your brain doesn't particularly care for concentration. It likes to wander all about. That's normal. There's nothing wrong with you if your brain does that. Wandering off during a lecture, I get it. I do it when I'm lecturing. So it's normal. But it's not necessarily conducive to good learning or behavior management for that matter. So on purpose attention in what's going on now and remove the biases. And then skills like focused breathing. I don't really, I'm not too sure that I want to sit in the classroom and go, because it's going to sound like to the professor that you're a little bored, but you can take it or leave it. I'm not gonna give this as a boy. You got to sit there and breathe a certain way. Mindfulness enables you to put some space between yourself and your reactions. So focused breathing would be like, you've heard people say, whoa, wait a minute, take a deep breath. Well, that actually has some benefit. But in the sense of what I just described to you, that's not going to work for you. Focused breathing as in, okay, I need to stop a moment and assess what I'm hearing or assess what I'm doing and think about the outcomes. And in that process, maybe I do need to take a couple of deep breaths and slow things down. And in gratitude, that's a weird one. Gratitude for the opportunity would be the best way I could explain it. The idea that here's an opportunity for me to fix things in terms of this behavior that's bugging me. And then space between yourselves and reactions. Slow to react, depending on the situation. I ride a motorcycle. I'm not going to be slow to react on a motorcycle, right? But what about somebody cuts me off? I make it through that situation. I'm good to go. And then immediately I want to go tell them what a nice day I want them to have, right? Now, I think you know what I'm saying. No, just chill and let your anger subside. That's kind of what's being said here. And then what does that lead to? Better focus, feelings of calmness, which can oftentimes bring on relaxation. So, I'm sorry, my phone keeps banging at me. Had to pause just for a moment. Lost my place. Calmness and relaxation. I think I was talking about in self-regulation. Now, let's continue with that. Here's one that you've done and you didn't even know you were doing it in a lot of situations. It's called cognitive reappraisal. It's also known as cognitive reframing. You can use that to improve self-regulation abilities. What does it involve? Changing your thought patterns. Whoa, tough to do. Specifically, cognitive reappraisal involves reinterpreting a situation in order to change your emotional response to it. Golly, Pete, boy, if people could do that, wouldn't be any angry people anywhere. So refer back to what we said a while ago. Focus breathing. Put space between yourself and what you're dealing with related to what the reaction to it is going to be. So what are we talking about with all this? It's emotional control. Something that many people fail at. We all fail at it. We all fly off the handle about certain things. Me and technology don't get along, for example. So stop and think. What about an example, Dr. D? Well, here you go. I like this when I use this frequently. You've called and or texted your friend or both for several days. Instead of taking a step back and controlling your emotions, you go, he must have a problem with me. Probably I've done something to insult that person, or they may have even developed a hatred toward me. I mean, that's getting extreme, right? What's a better way of thinking about that? This is called positive psychology, by the way, if you're not familiar with positive psychology. What's the proper way to handle this? Instead of thinking my friend hates me or blah, 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 you would go, my friend must be really busy. So cognitive reappraisal, changing your thinking about something that's aggravating. Now, me and technology is not a good example because technology controls everything, and I'm an old man. I don't do too well with technology. We're not supposed to, right? Because we're old. But that's not going to change. I'm going to have to change to deal with it. See what I'm getting at? So I need cognitive reappraisal. I need to make something positive out of something negative. Research shows that using that in everyday life relates to experiencing more positive and less negative emotions. It's a change in attitude. It's as simple as pie to describe. It's one of the harder things that you can do because you have trained yourself to think like you think. Go back to that short little explanation of habits. And it all should fit together for you there. Now, listen, let me give you a list of qualities that self-regulating people have. This is a rather boring list. I don't try to sugarcoat things because all that is acting. Speaking of, that's the first thing on the list. People who are adept at self-regulating possess most often this list. They act in accordance with their values. Means we might have to change the value system, right? Calming themselves when upset. If you got a bad temper, that's going to be a problem. If you got an anger problem, that's going to be a problem on top of a problem. Cheering themselves when feeling down. I'm not telling you as I go through this list that you're going to be able to do every single one of these overnight. You may not ever be able to do all of them, but you get started with them, and that is a good start. Maintaining open communication. I have some training in MFC, Marriage and Family Counseling. I won't say exhaustive training. My degree is in counseling, particularly Christian counseling, but part of that training includes counseling marriage and family. I've done marriage and family counseling pro bono, which means legally no fee-based. So I've seen the bad side of that. And maintaining open communication is necessary to help maintain a good marital relationship. What do people do? I'm not trying to get off on a tangent here. I'm just telling you how difficult this is. Maintaining open communication. You don't have to be married to experience this. You all have friends. How many times have you had an upsetting occurrence with your friend and basically was cleared up later when you went, oh, I see what you mean now. You should have told me. Well, they may have been telling you and you weren't listening because you felt like your feelings were infringed upon. So that's all I'm going to say about it. Open communication. Persisting through difficult times. I was a Marine. Well, you're always a Marine once you join the Marine Corps. You never quit being a Marine even though you get off active duty. They taught us 3 words. You might want to jot these down. I think they're in the class somewhere, but I'm going to reiterate these. You apply these to your life, I guarantee you're going to have success in areas you never thought you would. And those 3 words are improvise, adapt, and overcome. Have those words on the office wall at Carolina University in my office. Improvise, adapt, and overcome. Persisting through difficult times keeps Marines alive. Putting forth your best effort. That's another Marine Corps thing. I won't get into USMC. Go join up if you want to learn more about it. Putting forth your best effort. Remaining flexible and adapting to situations. Improvise, adapt, and overcome. Seeing the good in others. How difficult is that? That's one of the hardest things that Christians have to face, is seeing the good in others. Won't preach a sermon. But the bottom line is doing to others as you would have them do unto you, not doing to others before they do unto you. That's the negative side of it. So remaining flexible and adapting to situations, seeing the good in others, staying clear about your intentions. To yourself, what are my intentions? Be honest with yourself. Taking control of situations when necessary. Probably, I don't want to go into a lot of examples here. I was thinking of a few. Sometimes taking control is almost impossible. And if you make a token, quote, token attempt, that's not good. Make a concentrated effort, a genuine attempt, until you reach the point where you know that you're not going to gain control, and then seek help. And sometimes it's better to seek help first. You got to read that. You got to read into what it is you're dealing with. And finally, view challenges I'm trying to think of a better way to put it, but I can't. View challenges as opportunities. Let me tell you another word you can plug into that. Challenges, i.e., problems. Make it an opportunity. Turn it into a challenge from a problem. It's all in a perspective. Successful people will tell you. I'm not talking about Elon Musk's people like that. I'm talking about average, everyday successful people. People that have a 4-year degree. People that have a master's. People that have a PhD. Using those examples because that's where you and I are right now. When I was getting my PhD, I ran into this a lot. Turning things into a challenge. And what's the opportunity part of that? An opportunity to learn. An opportunity to be successful. To overcome the problem/challenge. And what have I done in the process? I've engaged myself in an opportunity to learn. And when I learn, I won. Right? That makes sense to you? I hope it does. Now, how do I put all of this into practice? Wow. Okay, let's think about this a minute. Think about the list that we just went over. You're an adult. The first step in this self-regulating business is to recognize that everyone has a choice in terms of reacting to something. It's not automatic. Operant conditioning teaches you about consequences, behavior based on consequences. Put that in your notebook, put that in your toolbox, that I have a choice to react to a situation, negatively, positively, whatever the case is. When you feel like things have been unfair, it's how you react to it that really matters. Is there fairness in the world? A little bit, not a lot. There's some out there. It's how you react to it that really matters. You have 3 options to learn that skill related to self-regulation. What is it? Approach, avoidance, and attack. That doesn't mean go knock somebody's head off. You may feel like your options are out of your control. You may feel like your choice of behavior is out of your control, but it's not out of your control. Your emotions may sway you more toward a particular path. But you have, if you exercise it, control over your emotions. Okay, I know you're sitting there going, come on, give me a break, dude. Some things just overwhelm me. I agree with that. We're all humans. It's practice makes perfect, hopefully. Hopefully you don't find yourself in a lot of trying situations where you don't feel like you're in control. But you're going to, somewhat, eventually, and you already have. If you're over the age of 1, you have. So, learning the control of emotions in all situations. I won't begin to tell you the stories that I could tell you about being in sticky situations in Vietnam, or sticky situations when I was a Charlotte police officer, where if you didn't control your emotions, you probably weren't going to come out of that in good shape. You might not ever come out of it. So it can be done in very, very trying situations. You have to just learn to do it. Learn to control your emotions. I cannot begin to give you the training. It takes a long time. I would suggest that if you're that interested in it, that you look up scholarly, academically acceptable articles. Start with things like psychology training manuals, Psychology Today. That's a good source. Anything related to counseling that's legitimate. Don't go on the internet and look for Bubba Biggins' discussion about how to control emotions. Well, I just hit him in the head with the hammer and go on about my business. Don't look for stuff like that. Look for real stuff. Good stuff. Because I don't have time to school you in it. I don't have but 7 weeks. The second step is to become aware of your transient feelings. What does that mean? When things go yucky for you, do you feel like running away? Or do you feel like striking out in anger? Monitor your thoughts. Sometimes it's not immediately obvious to you. You can even use physical recognition. Okay, we're in a discussion, and I feel the heat rising. My heart rate's going up. Feel my face getting red. Feel my face getting tense. Slam on the brakes because you're getting ready to lose your temper, maybe even enter into a fit of rage. You don't want to do that. again, a lot of thoughts come through my mind. You have to control emotions and think clearly to make things work for you. Restore balance. Focus on your deeply held values. Hopefully they include calmness rather than anger. Try to ignore the transient emotions. Try to ignore all that extra stuff that's flowing through your veins at the moment. Is it easy? No, come on. We have this built-in thing called fight or flight reaction. Fight means to defend yourself. Flight means to defend yourself by running away, saving yourself. It's an instinct. So am I supposed to overcome instinct? No. But you can control those things. You ask any infantry veteran and they'll tell you, yeah, you better control it. The outcome might not be too pretty. Hate to keep beating them. I won't mention that anymore today. Hate to keep beating that to death, but it's all good examples. Real good example. Once you've gone through that process, try to act in a way that presents self-regulation to you and to others. Do things that align with self-regulation. I know all this is tough, but it's the steps in the process. I guess probably if I want to clarify this a little bit better. This is a repeat. I apologize for all these thoughts going through my mind right now. But this is a very important section of our study, and I keep getting these examples that pop into my mind, and I go, nah, I don't want to use that. So bear with me while I go through these thought processes. So behavior self-management. Let's do a little reiteration. Behavior self-management is the ability to monitor and adjust your own behavior. That's going all the way back to the beginning. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to put this into a very recognizable pattern for you. This is like week 1. Behavior management, the ability to monitor and adjust your own behavior. Behavior self-management is the process of modifying your own behavior by managing specific cues, cognitive processes, and contingent consequences. Basically, what you're doing is you're learning, and you're learning to change, and this all relies on you taking initiative to control the changing process. In other words, we're not going through a haphazard thing here. We're going through a scientific process. So I hope you've picked up on that. This whole thing is a scientific process. There are 3 skills that you've heard in different words. Here's another way of saying them. 3 skills. Learn to manage your commitments and time. Be committed to this change and set aside the time to make it work. Remember the word habit? Repetition. Takes time, doesn't it? Took a long time to get where you are now. It didn't happen overnight. Now you got to undo it, and hopefully it gets undone quicker than it got done. Number 2 is cultivating and motivating and being capable to learn new things on your own in support of what you're trying to do. And then finally, if you feel like it's better to have a team member, then build and nurture a personal connection with whoever. It could be multiples, it could be one other person. Doesn't have to be several people. All right, so leads us to kind of wrap up at least on this little reiteration section. Behavior deficits and excesses. The two things we're looking at to change. What's a deficit? It's a behavior that's almost non-existent. It's too little. It's something that you don't do that you should be doing, studying instead of eating donuts. Behavior deficits doesn't necessarily that you intentionally learned it, but it's still there. It's still existent. And it can apply to a lot of things. Everything from eating habits to social situations. And then the opposite is true. Behavioral excesses. They're behaviors that occur too often. Simple as pie. So you're working with something that you can eventually manage, hopefully. Have to put hopefully in there because, like I've told you already several times, it's not 100% guaranteed that you're going to be successful. I don't want to throw a barrier in your way and destroy any positive attitude toward that you have. But being unrealistic, excuse me, is not going to be very helpful. You have to understand that in some cases, it may take more than self-regulation. Depends on what the behavior is. Now, again, this is dangerous territory because don't get the idea that, oh, Lord, I'm not going to make it while I'm even doing this. The success rate's pretty high. Depends on you. How much of this do you have going on in there? Put your all into it. Whatever you're trying to change, I don't care if it's simple or difficult. If you're not totally 100% committed, you've beaten yourself before you ever got started. I hope that makes sense. So stay 100% committed. Be ready for failures. You're not always going to be successful in everything that you attempt to do. Now, there is a list of things, and I'm not too sure I want to spend a heck of a lot of time with this. They're called contingencies. And you can have dependent variables, and you can have independent variables, just like any other experiment that you do. I'll let you read about those. If you want to look those up, dependent contingencies and non-dependent contingencies related to behavioral self-regulation, put it that way. Use that as your view, as your search, and you should come up with quite a few things that will be advantageous for you to know. Okay, this is the end of this little spiel. I'll be seeing you again soon, and we're going to be talking about some more interesting things and potentially some more revisions. Sorry, on your part. See you later.